Yes, friends, now we are moving forward towards the second session, which is one of the important sessions to be delivered by the past president of ICAI. I request Regional Council Member Vikas Jain sir to escort our past president, Debashish sir, on the dais. Before going further and handing over charge to Debashish sir, I should let me take privilege to introduce Debashish sir. Yeah, I know, sir. It is not required, as well as if I'm talking at Ahmedabad branch, at all it is not required. But it is our foremost duty to do that. A dynamic president under whose leadership first time World Congress happened under his leadership at Geo Center, where more than 7,000 participants from all over the globe came to attend that World Congress. So it was privilege that for us to have a president like you in the first year of this term. And as far as Ahmedabad branch, sir, many people were there in the inaugural sessions. So it is obligations from the Ahmedabad branch that the largest building which you gave to us and you have done the inauguration of the same. So we are privileged with that. So before not wasting much of time, sir, I request Debashish sir to start the sessions and address the audience, sir.
Thank you very much. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Right. Difficult to speak on audit. When the Vice Chairman of Audit and Assurance Standards Board, Vishal Doshi, is here, and let me tell you, he does such fantastic work. He was talking about the Center for Audit Quality, and so much work is being done. He was talking about materiality. You know, I was in London, and then they said that, you see, AQMM, can you tell us more about it? Because the people abroad, they had not heard about audit quality maturity model about which he was talking about. So many people, they expressed huge amount of interest about AQMM. And a lot of credit goes to Center for Audit Quality, to Vishal Doshi for having done so much of work. I am also aware that he is a member of International Audit and Assurance Standards Board on behalf of the Institute, and you see, he does us, he makes us feel proud that you see, he's also representing us in the International Audit Standards Board, right? So you see, Vishal is doing fantastic work. Ladies and gentlemen, this is audit quality, and if you find some problems there, you see, this the man is also the person responsible, Vishal Doshi. If you have this, because the implementation guide was issued by Audit and Assurance Standards Board at some point of time in 2000. They issued it in 2023. Then they issued it again, revised it with 2024. You have a lot of FAQs there. In the 2024, you see, a lot of FAQs, a lot of illustrations, right? And what the presentation that I make to you today is totally based on the implementation guide. It does not have a lot of my opinions. Wherever my opinions are there, I'll let you know, see, where my opinions, which are my personal opinions. So the first one, all right. So if you see this whole idea of audit trail, Rule 11G and everything, it has been there from 2021. The government had deferred it by 2 years. And so this time when there was a deferral request again, that you see we should defer it, you see the government did not agree to this. Because they said that, look, in the past we have deferred it by 2 years. So this time we cannot defer it. So this time it is applicable for the first time for 2023-24. And those of us who have not already signed an audit report, please note that this is going to be a very, very important aspect when you see, sign your audit report for 2023-24. The audit trail has two aspects. Number one, the first part is what the company can do. The company, you see, let me tell you, see, it has to maintain an audit trail of each and every transaction. Then creating an edit log. Edit log means to find out who did the rectification entry at what time. And you see, what was the time in which the rectification entry was done. Basically, it is like this. We pass rectification entries, right? the system did not, we go on and at the end we have an entry. What the government of India is saying is this: let us have a trail of the entries that you have passed. If you have changed the entries, let us know at what time you changed the entry and who changed that entry. They're saying simple. That is the basic thing that we require. Other things are right, you see, tampering and all these things, but basically we want to have a trail of the entries, the rectification entries that you have passed. Right? So, see, and ensuring that the audit trail cannot be disabled. So the top part is the company's responsibility. The second part, that's where we come in. We have to report on that, and that is the problem. You see, we have to report on what is that the audit trail, the software that is being used, it has a feature of audit trail. The audit trail feature has not been tampered with. That is, you have a user ID and a password. Somebody who is unauthorized does not go and tamper with it. And then it has been preserved by the company. The preservation period is 8 years under the Companies Act. So this is basically we have to report on. As we go ahead, I'll show you the illustrative reporting, how TCS is reported, how ITC has reported on this, so that you can pick it up. And then what is the reporting format as given by in the implementation guide of the Institute of Chartered Accountants of India. Mind you, the Institute has issued 2 implementation guides. Go for the implementation guide which the Institute has issued in 2024. Do not confuse, do not go for the 2023 one. Right, so 2024 implementation guide. Now here, next one, I come, audit trail. I have said what is audit trail. Have a look at the screen. You see, it's very simple, right? He's saying that audit trail, you see, there has to be an audit log of all transactions. That is, you see, what is a log? What are the kind of transactions that you made? What are the kind of rectification entry that you passed? All this, there has to be an audit trail of this, the audit log. If you make any changes in the data, then you have to have a chronological record of the changes. The only changes, all this time when we were doing the tally, we made changes. At the end, there was only one entry we deleted, added. But now they're saying you delete and add. But let us know at what time did you delete, who deleted this, and what is the ultimate rectification entry. So when you do so many changes, they just want to have a trail of the changes that you have made. Simple. Right? Accounting software is a computer. You see, Tally has it. So many other companies, they do it. So you see, you can have it. Even SAP has this system of audit trail for the bigger companies. I will try to go for the small and medium companies, but if you have a question related to bigger companies, I would also be willing to answer that. This is the definition of books of accounts. So old definition, nothing great. You see, if you see the later part of it. Have a look at the example, later part of it. So any software that maintains records of transactions that fall under the definition of books of accounts as per section 2 of the Act will be treated as accounting software for the purpose of Rule 11G. Now, if sales are recorded separately and only consolidated entries are passed, then the standalone software will also have to follow audit trail. Right? So you see, agar aap alag karte ho, payroll for example, you do it separately and then you bring it here, then that will also have to follow audit trail. Now what Vishal has done is, Vishal and Sanjeev Singhal, they are also talking about master data. Master data means, suppose, see, you are doing payroll. Now you have a list of all the employees with the remuneration, right? Now, if you change the remuneration there in the master data, then it has an effect in your accounts. So the question arose that whether this audit trail should also cover the master data. And the view that has been taken by Audit and Assurance Standards Board is that master data also has to be covered by this audit trail. Right, so audit trail. So that's very important for you. So if you see, if you're maintaining the sales records separately, it will still impact you. It will still impact you. It still has to come under the provisions of audit trail, even though you maintain it separately and a consolidated entry is being passed in your ledger. Something which many people asked, if you're maintaining your books manually, don't have to maintain audit trail. So the other day somebody was asking me that I have only 10 entries. Why should I go for, you see, electronic this thing? I will pass my manual entries, na? Then you see the audit trail is not applicable to me, right? If you have a limited number of entries, then maybe you can think of doing it manually, right? But otherwise, let me tell you, I would never suggest that you go back to those bad old days of trying to tally a trial balance manually. This is disastrous kind of things. Just to avoid this, it makes no sense for you to go manually. Unless you have only, the company has only few entries, right? So please note, it is applicable only if you are maintaining your accounts in the electronic form. If you are maintaining your accounts manually, these provisions relating to audit trail are not applicable. It is the management which is primarily responsible for maintaining all these records, the accounting software. It's the management responsibility. But mind you, what is management without our guidance? So we need to have, they have to have our guidance for maintaining this, right? But let me tell you, it is the management, that's what Audit and Assurance Standards Board is telling us. It is the management which is, and today is a very significant day because today the institute is celebrating its audit day in Delhi, right? So you see, it's a very significant day. They've come out with ads in the Economic Times. You know, they were celebrating, the president ICAI will be there, the chairman NAFRA will be there. So they are all, you know, we were supposed to, I and Aniket and even Vishal, we were supposed to go there. But today, a council meeting has been called at 4:30 electronically. So all of us were stuck. See, we cannot really move to Delhi. We have to attend that council meeting electronically at 4:30, right? So, please see, these are the areas which you should, this thing. Yesterday in Lucknow, they were saying, what are the areas? I'll tell you the other areas also, that whether audit trail is configurable, whether audit trail feature was enabled, operate. Please see the word throughout the year. Now here I will come. Suppose, you see, you have introduced this in June 2023, the audit trail. It was not there from April 2023. You have no other alternative but to modify, qualify your accounts. It has to be in operation throughout the year. Throughout the year, it has to be in operation, right? So if you have done it for six months or 7 months, you have to qualify or modify your audit report. You have no choice. You have no choice. Right? So these things I will now move. For 2022-23, we were required to make a note, but that's forget it. About 2023, that is gone. Now, please note that audit trail is required for, reporting is required for CFS, consolidated financial statements, as well as standalone. As well as standalone. Now, I'll just give you, you know, yesterday there was a huge debate on what is this standalone. Right, the institute has defined this standalone, but there was a huge debate. Suppose you have an X&N company private limited. It does not have any holding, it doesn't have any associate, doesn't have any joint venture, it doesn't have anything, right? It is one. So when you're certifying, we have carried out the audit of X&N company, standalone financial statements of X&N company private limited. Are we right or are we wrong? Can anybody help me? I've said that X&N company private limited is not part of a group. It's not part of a group. It doesn't have a subsidiary, holding, associate, joint venture, nothing, right? But we are, auditing that. And we are writing, we have carried out the audit of the financial statements of, standalone financial statements of X&N company private limited. Are we right in writing that in this? Vishal knows the answer, but at some point of time, there was a lot of debate on this. Can anybody help me? Am I wrong in whatever I'm saying in the example that I have given, or am I right? Standalone. Because see, I have said that, standalone, if you look at the balance sheets everywhere, they talk about the standalone financial statements, right? For example, when I show TCS, they will say standalone financial statements of TCS, right? You see, according to the institute, according to Audit and Assurance Standards Board, the term standalone has to be used not because it is the only company. The standalone is to be used to distinguish the fact that it is part of a group. then only you stand alone. अगर एक्शन कंपनी प्राइवेट लिमिटेड है, वो किसी का उसका रिश्तेदारी है नहीं, कोई उसका होल्डिंग नहीं है, एसोसिएट नहीं है, आप उसको स्टैंड अलोन इस्तेमाल नहीं कर सकते हो. When you use stand alone, it means that it's part of a group and that a CFS is prepared for that at some point of time. Right? So a CFS, a consolidated financial statement, is prepared for that at some point of time. SS 600, you see, using the work of another auditor and things like this. But, I will talk to you about SS 600 as you go ahead. It's one standard which is going to hold center stage as we go ahead. I'm sure Vishal is, and the Audit and Assurance Standards Board is grappling with that, what to do with this. Because SS 600 is one standard which is, that's the only standard in auditing standards that we have which is not converged with the international standards. Where we differ, where we have departed from the international standard, from ISA 600. Right? And there, see, lies the problem. There is a problem. Now, see, let me just also tell you now, since you will be, it has nothing to do much with audit trail. Now, since many of you will be hearing about SS 600, it is like this. X and Company Private Limited is the holding company. I'm just giving you the funda of SS 600 because it's so important that you understand what it is, because you'll read a lot about it in the papers. It's already come out in the papers. Right, so X and Company Private Limited is the holding company. The subsidiary companies are A and Company Private Limited, B and Company Private Limited, C and Company Private Limited. These are all subsidiary companies, right? Now the holding company, X and Company Private Limited, there is a consolidation is done, X plus A plus B plus C. A consolidation is done because they are all subsidiaries. I'm making it very simple. Now the holding company auditor is auditor, he is known as the group auditor or the parent auditor. And all the component, all the subsidiary company auditors are known as component auditors. The ISA 600, that is the international one, it says that the holding company auditor can go and audit the accounts of all the component auditors, even though the audit has already been done by the component auditors. That is ABC ka audit, koi small. Usually what happens, the holding company auditor is a big firm and the ABC, the component auditors, are the small and medium practitioners. At the institute, we felt that if we allow and if you converge with ISA 600, then it will mean that the holding company auditor will go and do a re-audit of all the component auditors. They will go and do a re-audit. Consequently, at some point of time, the company can say that, why do I need component auditors? Let me give all the work to the holding company auditors, because they are the ones who is doing it, and you see, they can question, since they have the right to question the component auditors, and since they are not accepting the audit report of the component auditors, why do I need component auditors? I will also take you through bank branch audit. Central statutory auditor hai upar. Hum log sab, many of us are branch auditors. Suppose SS 600 we converge with internationally. Then the question will arise, why do we need bank branch auditors? Because central statutory auditors will go and audit all the branches. It is because of this that the institute, over a period of time, we have said that we are not going to converge with ISS 600. We are going to stick to SS 600 so that these component auditors, who are small and medium practitioners, they survive them in the market. We have also that the bank branch audit also goes seamlessly. That's why we have not converged. But now the feeling is, NAFRA the other day had imposed crores of rupees of penalty, and tomorrow I am in Bhubaneswar, the RBI governor is there. I have a session immediately after RBI governor to speak on NAFRA orders, to dissect the NAFRA orders tomorrow. And I'm looking forward, I said that let the RBI governor be there when I speak about the NAFRA orders. Now, what they are saying is, the whole problem of fraud has come because the auditor on top, that is the group auditor, is not checking the work of the component auditor. He's accepting the audit report of the component auditor. For example, in the bank branch audit, kya hota hai? Central statutory auditor says that the branch auditor's report, I'm accepting it, and I am not gone and done the audit of the branches. except the branches which have been allotted to him. So now NAFRA is saying that no. Well, let us converge with the international standards. और जो group auditor होगा, he will also do the audit of the component auditors. If that happens, you know what's going to happen to the auditors of the component auditors. Again, the institute is resisting, but there is a strong feeling. I say this because it's come out in the papers yesterday in the Times of India. SEBI is also saying that we should converge. CAG is also saying that we should converge on principle. So if that happens, you see, the institute, I have already advised the president that we must hold our ground on this, because this is a time-tested stand that we have taken. And SS600, the way it is, because I personally believe it will also have an impact on the bank branch audit. Right? So we have said that hold your ground on this and do not retract. If required, let us give a dissent. Right? So if required, let us give a dissent. Let us see. But why I say this, you will read about all this in the papers. Yesterday, somebody phoned me up and said, Debashish, I read in Times of India, there is some fight about SS600. So he said, what the hell is SS600? So that you don't ask this question to Aniket Talati or others, I'm just explaining to you what is SS600. So if you have understood this, you have understood the implication and why the institute is taking the stand that it is taking at the present moment. So we have to maintain this audit trail for a minimum period of 8 years. You have to maintain this, right? Provisions. Now, yesterday a question was asked in Lucknow, what do I do? As an auditor, I have gone to audit. Now, what do I check in audit trail? What do I do? What kind of checking do I do? These are the checkings that you have to do. These are the kind of checkings that you have to do, right? If you are not qualified, you see, please then enlist the help of an expert for doing these checkings. Enlist the help of an expert. If you are not very qualified on IT, enlist the help of an expert to do this checking. But these kind of checkings have to be done. This kind of checkings. Right? Periodic backup and everything, this kind of checkings. You have a checklist. Tick, tick, tick. But at the end of the day, please take I'll come to it, please take a management representation. Take that audit trail, if you are willing to give a clean report, that audit trail has been complied with. But let me tell you, the institute is not very much encouraging of you to give a clean report. What's the institute's viewpoint? Let me just tell you now. I'm not coming to this. These are the three scenarios. According to the institute, these are the three scenarios. The first scenario is management may maintain adequate audit trail as required by account rules. Audit trails maintain ho raha hai. The second scenario is, according to the institute in the implementation guide, management may not have identified all records, transactions for which audit trail should be maintained. That's number 2. All records and transactions. For example, payroll में audit trail नहीं है, दूसरा चीज में audit trail है, या only part of the year में audit trail है, या property, plant and equipments में audit trail नहीं है, right? So that's the second one. The third one is कोई feature ही नहीं है, audit trail का feature ही नहीं है. The company does not follow audit trail. Now, sir, the institute is saying, Vishal, that's why I went off from here. The institute is saying, because he's the vice chairman of Audit and Assurance Standards Board, and this is a publication of the Audit and Assurance Standards Board, institute is saying, on the first one, give a clean report. On the second and third, qualify your report. No choice. No choice. I repeat for the third time, no choice. You simply will have to qualify. Right? Don't bother that you see the client has been emotional connect hai client ke saath mein and things like this. You have no choice. So be ready. Those of us who have already issued the reports, let me tell you that nothing much can happen, whatever. But if you have not issued the reports, and if you are, mind you, and this is, by the way, applicable for all companies. So if you are saying that, look, I'm part of a small company. What is there? Why should I do it? It is applicable for all companies. Small, big का कोई distinction नहीं है. All companies is applicable. A question arose, and this is there in the FAQs that we have carried. Limited review में इसको करना पड़ता है कि नहीं? Those of us who do listed company audits, and the institute has taken a stand that as long as limited review is concerned, audit trail checking is not required. Right? The institute has taken a stand. So please see this. By now you have understood the significance of this topic. This is going to entail a qualification. Today nobody talks about the qualification, they talk about the modification. Mind you, the word qualification has been replaced by modification. Now, 46 auditing standards. You see, when I was the president, I said, audit is a serious business. Right? And so many people were after me, gunning for me, saying that, does the president of ICAI say that we should get out of audit? And today, many people, they quote me that Debashish, whatever he said was right, that audit is, including Amarjit Chopra. You see in the article, he's quoted me saying that, you see, Debashish has said the right thing. Because today, the penal consequences are so heavy. You see what's happening to NAFRA, right? Audit, you cannot do audit without knowing the auditing standards. No chance. And over a period of time, if the branch has organized a program on auditing standards, you said, oh God, it's so boring. Right? But now you have no choice. Cannot touch audit without knowing auditing standards. Auditing standards are our lifeline. Are our lifeline today. So when I talk about modification, there is an auditing standard called SS705, which talks about how to modify. Now let me tell you, here let me just take you through SS705. You can have 4 types of reports. You can have a clean report, which you give true and fair view, clean report. You can have a qualified report. Please note, आजकल subject to कोई नहीं लिखता है, सब लिखता है except for this, this and this, the balance sheet gives a true and fair view. That is called a modified report or a qualified report. You can have an adverse report. Adverse report is, because of the significance of what is stated above, the financial statements do not give a true and fair view. That's an adverse report. And the last one is a disclaimer, where you don't get adequate evidence. Because we could not get the evidence, we are not in a position to give an opinion as to whether the balance sheet gives a true and fair view or not. So SS 705 talks about 4 types of reports: a clean report, a modified report, an adverse report, or a disclaimer. 4 types. If you have understood this, you have understood SS 705. It's quite a thick standard, right? You see, if you have understood. So what the institute is saying is, if the audit trail is not maintained, go for the second one, go for the modified report. That's what the institute is saying. I am now taking you through the reporting, the way the institute has defined. First of all, I am taking you through unmodified reporting. Ekdam sab theek hai, shanti mein hai. Everybody has maintained the audit trail. Unmodified reporting. Look at the way unmodified reporting has to be done. Right? I hope everybody has caught on with this, the way unmodified reporting has to be done. Right? Okay, all right. Now, we'll come to modified reporting and the situation, circumstances, and where there has been a lot of controversy. I am now moving, I am not taking all this. Yep. Now, I am taking this as an example. In this example, if you see, first of all, the question arises, somebody asked me, that where do I give this reporting? Do I give this in the main report or do I give this in part of the Caro report? Let me tell you, it will come in the main report under the section report on under other regulatory matters. So that's what we have written, report on other legal and regulatory matters. Now you see in this case, there has been partial compliance of audit trail. This is an example picked up from the implementation guide. Partial completion. So you see first, if there is a partial compliance, you start off by writing this comment. Based on our examination, please note the checking of audit trail is test check. It is not 100% checking. The institute does not recommend 100% checking for audit trail, right? So please see, based on our examination, the company has used an accounting software. Please see this part. Except that, this part, except that the audit software for this was not maintained. So we are, first of all, here, what we are doing is, we are modifying in our report, saying that except this, the audit software is not maintained for this. We are modifying our report, right? This is a guidance from the Institute of Chartered Accountants of India. Now, the problem arose that once I give this guidance, whether my comment on proper books of accounts, maintenance of proper books of accounts is affected or not. It was a deliberation in the council and in the Audit and Assurance Standards Board, and the Audit and Assurance Standards Board took a view that once I say this, then your proper books of accounts, maintenance of proper books of accounts is also challenged. So look at once you give this, according to institute, what else you have to give. Have a look at the next one. You have to make 3 qualifications. The first one was that. Second one, you see proper books of accounts you have to challenge. You have to challenge the proper books of accounts. And the third one is a section which we don't use very frequently, 143(3)(h) of the Companies Act, which says that whether there are any adverse features affecting the company. Right? In that, we have to write that the audit trail has not been maintained. You have to write that. So if there is, you see, inadequate maintenance of audit trail, you have to give 3 qualifications, ladies and gentlemen. The first one was this thing that I showed you, and second and third. These have been laid down by the Institute of Chartered Accountants of India. You cannot move. You cannot move. It is not discretionary. All these 3 qualifications have been laid down. Now I will show you what is TCS doing on this, what is ITC doing on this, based on this, the guidance that the institute has provided, right? ITC Limited has given a clean report. It has given a clean report, ITC. It's given a clean report. Look at TCS and see to what extent TCS has followed the guidance given by the Institute of Chartered Accountants of India. Look at TCS. Except for the instances mentioned below. So it is a modified report by TCS. Unlike ITC, it's a modified report by TCS, right? Now, I said that once you modify the first one, you challenge the books of accounts, right? So what TCS has done is, once they have modified this, they have gone ahead and said, look at the books of accounts. They have gone and said about the books of accounts. Have a look at it. Have you seen it, the way they have done it? If you understand the flow, then you'll know what's happening. They have totally complied with the advisories given by the Institute of Chartered Accountants of India. Thank you. So now, how many of you think that things are pretty bad? If you think things are pretty bad, then things are actually, unfortunately, usually when I speak about this, people they say, oh God, let us give up audit here. What's the use? Right? Then they say, what will happen if I don't do it? As an auditor, you will get notice from ROC. And then to refer to the Institute's disciplinary committee. And if you don't follow the Institute's guidelines, the institute will have no other alternative but to hold you guilty. The directors are also going to go for the penal consequences for not complying with this. Right? So, the impact is very serious. Very serious. So, to all of us who are here, many of us are doing small companies, right? Let me tell you, if that has not been followed, you have no choice but to qualify or but to modify. No choice, sir. The other day, somebody was telling me that, look, it's like this. I have a client, right, with whom I have got emotionally attached because 30 years he has been my client. How can I write against him? How can I write against him? I said that when the ROC gives you a notice, when you are referred to the disciplinary committee and ROC also imposes a penalty on you, is your client going to come and help you? He said no. The problem sometimes arises that we get too emotionally attached to our clients. But in this case, I think it's time that we took an independent view. We took an independent view on this. I know to many of us who are listening to me, it may not be the most palatable thing to do. It may not be the most palatable thing to do. But I believe we have no choice. We have no choice. And if you don't do it, somebody or the other is going to point out that you have not done it. Right? Now, having seen this, how do I go about it now? What do I do? So I have shown you the checklist which you have to do it. The first thing is take a management representation. That audit trail has been maintained or the audit trail has not been maintained. I had just gone out just now when Aniket was speaking. The gentleman in my office, my partner was showing me the management representation he has because we were going to qualify that report. The management was saying that I am not going to give you a management representation saying that I have not maintained audit trail. So my partner was saying that there is a crisis now. He is not willing to sign this. It's a big company. It's an amusement park. So see, they are saying that they are not willing to sign this. I said that in that case, we will simply, what is management representation? It's a 580. Management representation is only one of the tools for our audit. It's not the only tool for our audit, right? So I was telling my partner, if he does not sign, no problem. Just go ahead and qualify. My partner, he said that, sir, they are also saying that, you see, they will reconsider whether to continue with us in the future or not. That is something all of us will have to face. Right? That's something all of us will face. So I was telling my partner that, look, and he's very scared. He says that, sir, he's with the devil in the Dead Sea. He's saying, if I sign and qualify, the client is against me. If I don't sign, the government is against me. What do I do? And then I would like to retain my client because my fees, with substantial amount of fees is being given. The client is telling him that, you see, tell us the way out. Simply, you see, from he's introduced this from September 2023. April, May, June, July, August, he did not have it. Client is saying, turn a blind eye. At least on 31st March, you have it now. Right? But it is throughout the year. Now the client again tells us, why you did not advise us? Which is also going to happen to all of us. You should have advised us from 1st of April. Why you did not advise us? Right? So it is, but let me tell you what I just now told him. I told him, you want to have a case against you? Because my partner was refusing to, not wanting to qualify. So I said that, do you want to have a case against you? I said, I'm not signing, right? I'm not signing. So I am not at risk. Right? I said, do you want to have a case against, well, sir, such an old client. I said that, but beyond that is the guidance of the institute. 30 minutes I was talking to him, seeing what he has written and all these things. And then he made me talk to the managing director of the company. So I said, sir, we are helpless. We are simply helpless. our 5 years has expired, so it is coming up for renewal. That's another problem. Right, the audit is coming up for renewal because 5 years have expired. So you see, that's another problem. Look at the problem that you face. Right? But I told them, qualify. Because don't want to be in trouble with the government with this, and with this, it's the atmosphere that we are having on audit. Let them, but sir, they are saying that they may not reappoint and all this. I said, let them do it, whatever they feel like, but qualify. So, sir, I believe we have no choice. I believe that we have no choice but to qualify, right? But here, the steps that you have to take a management representation. If you are, for some reason, happy with whatever it is, take a management representation saying that they have maintained the audit trail. Take a management representation, right? That will serve your purpose if you are going to give a clean report. Because later on, when you have to justify that clean report, you have to show that one of the tools of my audit has been the management representation, which says that, the audit trail features have been maintained. Right? So that is number one. Number two, please note there is no 100% checking on audit trail. Do get somebody who understands the system a bit to do a bit of checking. The fact that there is an audit trail on some day, right? Take a photo of that, screenshot. Keep it as part of your record, a screenshot of that. Keep it as part of your record. Because when the bad day comes, you must justify why you did whatever you did, right? Take a screenshot of that. Take the management representation. And then take a call. Look at your conscience, take a call what you need to do. Whether you are going to follow institute instructions or whether you are going to go your own way. Mind you, if you want to go, nobody can force you to go your own way. You can go your own way, but the ramifications could be there, right? And if you have had clients who are doing companies who have followed this, no problem, no problem, no problem. So audit trail is such important, and those of us, see, Purushottam Bhai told me to speak about the independent directors, those of us who sit in the boards of companies who are part of audit committees, maybe chair the audit committees. Please have a look as to whether audit trail has been complied with or not. Very, very important for those of us who sit or chair the audit committees. Ask the internal auditor to give you a certificate that audit trail has been complied with. You see, in the audit committee, you have the statutory auditors. Also talk to them and find out whether audit trail has been complied with. Your other directors in the audit committee, they might tell you that, look, everything is hunky-dory. As an independent director, you see, you have no other alternative but to do that. The other day, since I see a lot of ladies here, a woman director phoned me up. For certain companies, you need to have one woman director, right? So a woman director phoned me up. She was saying that, look, I'm in the board. She's a chartered accountant. I'm in the board. Right? I'm part of the audit committee. I can see in front of me that audit trail has not been complied with, has not been complied with. But the other directors are not in agreement with me. They're saying, let us give a clean chit. What do? I said that you immediately take take a certificate for the internal auditors that it's been done, and the statutory auditors, right, that they are satisfied. Don't worry about what the other directors are saying. Because as an independent director, you are supposed to be the voice of conscience. That's what you are supposed to be. Right? So, those of us who are in the boards, please note that audit trail compliance, you have to raise it before the audit committees. It's so very important. Right? So this time, it's come this time. So, before I open it up for discussion, let me tell you, and I think Vishal also will agree, do not venture into an audit without knowing the auditing standards. Do not venture into an audit. Day before yesterday, where I was speaking somewhere, they said, sir, why do I write independent auditor's report? Earlier I used to write auditor's report. Why do I write the word independent in front of the auditor's report? I said, you should feel proud that we are writing independent. What's so bad about it? I said, let me ask you, and this is something that, I said, from where does the format of this auditor's report has come? The Companies Act does not lay down the format of any auditor's report, unlike the format of the financial statements that is carried in Schedule 3. It does not lay down the format. Please note that if you are looking for the format of the audit report, it is there in the auditing standard SS 700. That carries the format, and that is what we have done. That format also says that we are giving a reasonable assurance. We are not giving an absolute assurance. That format also says that we are not giving a guarantee that all the frauds could be found out by us. That format also says that. But the feeling elsewhere is that find out all the frauds. So, you see, it is so important for us to understand the auditing standards and from where all these things emanates. So that, audit, all this time what we felt, we passed out, we had a membership number, we had a firm registration number, and we said that, all right, we are good auditors. Unfortunately, the situation has completely changed. I repeat, do not venture into an audit without knowing the auditing standards. Those of us who are a bit senior, you see what Vishal was telling us, so many templates, Center for Audit Quality, just have a bit of interest on that, and I think, you'll be quite safe. That's the way to go, right? So with these words, not trying to scare you at all, but only trying to make you aware that, audit is now a serious business, and that, without knowing about the auditing standards, you should not venture, and if there is no audit trail, I believe you should not hesitate in qualifying your report this time. So with these words, if you have any questions, I would be very happy to answer them. Anybody? I can see a lot of silence amongst the audience. Yeah, tell us, sir.
Has been a change in software?
Yes, certainly. There's been change. If the software, carries the audit trail feature, then you don't have to comment that there's been change, etc. As long as the software carries the audit trail feature, right?
So no need to say that.
But because of the change in software, if there is some problem with the audit trail feature being not being there or partially there, then you have to comment on that.
Certainly. So if there is a disruption of even a day or two between the transition period, then
that is a materiality you may try to this thing. I would not like to be quoted on this, but if I were you, I would try to turn a blind eye on that.
Okay.
Mind you, it's test check, so you can always argue that on those days I did not check.
Okay.
Sir, when we do that, the president and maybe Vishal and the others, they have a bigger problem. We can argue that small companies can be out of audit trail, right? So the question arises then, that in that case, should we make it optional for small companies to do audit? Bigger question, sir. And that is where the institute is a bit, apprehensive. We are not going full swing ahead for this exemption, whatever you are saying. We believe that maybe small companies should have been exempted. But if you push the ministry too hard, they are going to ask you that. And they have been asking us this question for a long time now. That if the small companies you feel they do not want to comply, then why go for an audit? Make it optional. Whoever wants to comply, let them comply. Whoever don't want to comply, let them not go for the audit. Caro is also exempted for small companies, no? Caro is exempted for small companies. You are trying to bring Caro into this, right? That exempted. No, they felt that Caro is a reporting kind of a thing. This is more basic. This is how you maintain your accounts. Caro is a reporting, right? On various points you report under Caro, right? Here it says that this is very basic how you maintain your accounts. And they're saying that there have been a lot of shell companies, a lot of frauds happening. And we want that the maintenance of your accounts should be proper, and there should be a trail of all the entries that you have made, so that if there is any fraud done later on, we can find out from the trail what exactly has happened. That's why they are making a distinction.
As this is the first maiden year, then
Well, you see, we have unofficially told them. No, ठीक है, कोई बात नहीं. You see, I'm totally with this. Whatever you are saying, so many others have told us that since the first year, they should go a bit slow. That's what you are saying, right? Huh? They should go. Unofficially, maybe yes. Unofficially, I cannot say this thing unofficially, but nobody can tell you. Suddenly, with all this nafra and everything happening all around, let me tell you, auditors are not the most favored species today. So with all everything, they find that you say audit is not done properly. You ask anybody except chartered accountants, they will say that no, audit is not done properly. So those kind of things, right? So you see, it's very difficult for us to push this argument very hard, whatever you are saying. You see, we are looking at the bigger picture, sir. That first of all, we want to see that this audit remains with us. Mind you, overseas, in the US and all this, there is no concept of compulsory audit, except maybe for the public interest entities. So we want to see that this audit, all the small company audits remains with us. So that's it. Good. I have heard this argument from many people before, right? And I think you might have a point on this. Huh? Yeah, and what he's saying is this, which I showed you in this thing, they already deferred by 2 years. Right? They already deferred. Let me tell you about him. Many of the chambers of commerce raised this voice that you are raising. And Vishal, I don't know whether he had gone or not, Sanjeev Singhal and all the Audit and Assurance Standards Board, they all went to Ministry of Corporate Affairs. They said, what you are doing? They said, when did you give the guidance? They said that 2023, sir, we gave the guidance. It is not that today we have just revised the guidance in 2024, but we have given the guidance way back in 2023, sir. Then they said, you want to defer whatever you are saying. We have no power to defer, instead of Chartered Accountants of India. We told the government, you want to do it, we have no problem. You want to listen to Chambers of Commerce, do it, we have no problem. But we cannot force you to, because we have no power to do it. Then the government said what Vishal is saying, we have deferred for 2 years, we are not going to defer it anymore. Finished, period. So that's the reality. Yeah.
Sir. Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon to you.
Sir, here.
I am willing to take all questions, by the way. Only Purushottam bhai ये बोलेगा कि आपका दूसरा से शेड्यूल है ना, शेड्यूल गड़बड़ा नहीं जाना चाहिए. That's why Manu bhai is looking very grim. I was thinking, ये मनु भाई तो इतना बैलेंस शीट साइन नहीं करता है, ये इतना सीरियस क्यों लगता है? वो उनका सेशन है. That's why. Sorry, the last one. Last one, sorry.
Sir, here. This way, sir.
Yeah.
Sir, just one question regarding some small companies maintaining fixed asset registers in the Excel route, and maybe some employee master data through which the payroll is being processed in the external software.
Correct.
So what about this, sir?
You see, if you see the institute's examples that they have given, there is a feeling that property, plant and equipments is one area where there is a problem on this. You maintain this separately, it's for calculation purposes, no problem. You do it as part of your books of accounts, then you have to maintain audit trail. Payroll, the institute has already given in the implementation guide. Payroll is outsourced, still audit trail has to be there. Institute is very categorical on that this thing. It has created a lot of controversy, but that's how it is. Okay. So institute is already very clear on that.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. But you raised very important points, let me tell you.
Thank you, sir.
The institute grappled with it.
Thank you.
All right, so you see, if that is fine, ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for the patient hearing. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. I invite Regional Council Member Vikas Bhai to do the formal vote of thanks.
Good afternoon, friends. It has been an indeed extreme pleasure to listen this audit trail from the horse's mouth, I would say. They are the people, including Vishal Bhai, they used to discuss and design all these things, what needs to be done, how it is to be reported. So friends, nobody could have been a better speaker on this topic from our past president, sir. And sir, honestly, we are thankful to you that you took such a pain and came from around from Guwahati to Ahmedabad. Thank you and would like to hear you again. Thanks a lot, sir. Thank you very much.